Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, and with me in person in my hotel room, because I am in the lovely San Antonio area, is Tre Vaughn. How you doing, Tre?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm a little tired after last night, but I'm doing well, man.
That's acceptable.
Doing well. So Tre's been on the show before. He is a good longtime friend of mine. He took a quick hiatus from the business to pursue his college education. Still doing that, but things have slowed down, so you've actually come back to the business. Anything else going on with you, brother?
Nothing much. I was planning on doing a powerlifting meet sometime in 2018. Haven't decided which one yet. But other than that, mostly just school and work.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, definitely make sure you follow Tre Vaughn on his Instagram. Stay posted on when he's going to do that event so we can go support him and whatnot. Moving right along, I want to mention our patrons at patreon.com/crowdpleaser. Thank you all so much for contributing to the show. It lets me continue to put out this great product for you to enjoy. Once again, the show will always be free, but if you decide you want to give something back and help me create new product, pursue other ideas and ventures and things like that, like the reality show and video recordings of this podcast and stuff, you could definitely give back. There's no requirement. You could give as little as $1 a show for as long as you want, or as little as you want. You can cancel anytime. So thank you once again. Appreciate that. You'll catch also little perks like all the photos from my photo shoots, not just the edits and things like that. Also, I'd like to mention La Bear Dallas and Hardbody San Antonio, our respective clubs where both Tre and I work at. Ironically, at both. We're the few guys that actually work at both clubs.
Move around a lot.
Yeah. And so you can come see us anytime, Wednesday to Sunday. Come in, bring in your birthday parties, your bachelorette parties, your divorce parties, you name it, we have it. Entertainment through and through. Just like all the lovely ladies that came out last night and supported XL Strip Off, which we're going to talk about, I guess, right now. They had a great time. They saw what an awesome show. The guys definitely brought it.
Oh, there was a lot of good shows last night, and it's incredible the shows that were put on last night with some of the short time that was given to do them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there was a lot of shows last night that didn't place that if they were done at a different strip off or in a different club, they would have been top placed acts.
Yeah, that's one thing you always have to take into consideration is how competitive the scene is.
Right.
And and it definitely was. There were some pretty amazing shows. Like you guys really capitalized the use of your stage and your props and stuff like that.
Oh, well, we appreciate that.
It works out, and man, you guys are really using that black light well. Like every time I see all you guys use those black lights to your advantage, it really adds a nice aspect to the shows.
Alex needs to get some for LeBear.
Working on it.
That's I'm
trying to fix one of our spotlights. I think they call it the God light because it shines right down on you, but it just kind of chisels you out. Been trying to get that one fixed, and hopefully I'll.
Well, hell, I had to bring my black lights that one time I came up there, so.
Well, yeah, black lighting is definitely a sensitive subject or lighting in general is a sensitive subject at our club. But such is life, man. You move on. But either way, let's go ahead and I'm not really sure how long today's topic is going to last. So this is Crowd Pleaser episode 25, and today we are going to be talking about drama inside the club. Drama pretty much kind of follows things around. It's this. Strip clubs can tend to be soap operas, and when you have such a high density of women with attractive dudes and alcohol, it's bound to happen. So we're going to go and get a little bit to the darker side of things, not too horribly, but talk about it so you can kind of prepare for it and deal with it and kind of minimize it, because honestly, it kind of puts a downer on the evening, I feel like. I've never seen any kind of drama that kind of made it exciting, except for the people that feed off of that.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to talk about that today. I got Tre Vaughn. That way he kind of gets a little bit of a feedback of like a different club, not just mine. But tune in, hopefully we're not talking about you. If we are talking about you, then by all means try to correct yourself. No, I'm just playing. So, first thing,
he's not, ladies. He's not.
Not at all. He can see my face. It's horrible. All right. So, with that being said, our first topic is, or category, I guess, would be the gossipers. The ladies that they pretty much do, they just want to be in the know. Mm-hmm. They run around and talk to as many women as they can, trying to find out any information about anybody, whether it's important to them or not. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, it's almost the only time they ever engage in conversation is about somebody else's business. And so it really kind of, like, first off, it's invasion of privacy sometimes, because like not everyone wants all their business out there all the time, or does anyone want everyone to know their business. And these ladies, they, like I said, they almost ignore the show sometimes and just go in there and try to find out whatever they can. And they also, and the thing is, it's not only a collection of information, but they also disseminate it. So it's right. Double, like they're trying to get all this information that they can, and they end up shooting it out to whoever they can, just to keep that cycle going of like give and take, all this, gossip and rumors and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't see the point in it personally. But I'm not a curious person by nature. True. But I feel like they do tend to stand out because if you really pay attention to the conversations you have with people of that nature, it's just always about somebody else, plain and simple. You end up finding out a lot more information about people that you may or may not even interact with.
Yes. Yeah. Or information you're like, do I really need to be hearing this? Is this something that I really need to know in my life? And you get that all the time, but I mean, you know as well as I do, there's going to be people that want to talk about certain things that even if you don't want to talk about it, they're going to bring it up. So
yeah, and so that in of itself creates drama because of that.
Right.
Like, people like their privacy to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. We are local celebrities, but that doesn't mean that everything we do has to be broadcasted.
True.
And there's also the side effect of that need to constantly be talking about things. Also, I feel lets them kind of negate the verification process. So sometimes they might have heard something from someone that heard something from someone else, and then they're just blowing that up across the club like it's a fact, when in reality it might not be at all.
No.
And that kind of goes back to the person themselves. Like some people, honestly, with me, I detach myself from rumors as much as possible. Right. Even when they're directed at me, I'm kind of like, whatever. You can believe it if you want, or you cannot. The people that matter know what's up, and that's all that really matters. Because I feel like any attention is good attention for them, right, and bad attention for me and whatnot. But it definitely ends up allowing things to get blown out of proportion. Right. For example, if a guy ends up taking a vacation for personal reasons, but doesn't really want to tell anyone because it's personal reasons, like they need a little bit of self-time, or maybe someone in the family's sick or something like that. They don't really want all that information going across the club.
Of course.
But then 3 days later, everyone thinks that said dancer is fired,
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, he got into a fight with so-and-so, and then he punched this person, and kicked the drink into that girl, and they fired him. And then he comes back a week later and be like, what?
What? Yeah, the fire. You know what? I think that's the biggest thing that I've heard since working in the industry is like, I'll ask someone, hey, how's so-so doing at this club? You didn't hear he got fired? And I'm like, what? Like, I feel like I would have known about that. Like, I know I don't talk to everyone from this club, but I feel like somehow it would have gotten into our realm. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, so then I'll either contact someone at that club, like, I think I contacted you about a friend of ours who got fired for a short stint.
Yep.
Not mentioning any names, but and you were like, hey, he's coming down to you and he'll talk to you about it. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. So stuff like that. Sometimes the rumor mill is just the rumor mill, though, because I know there was a lot of rumors for why I left Hard Bodies for those 3 months, and none of the rumors were true. Not one of them. Not one that came back to me was true. So
yeah, and that's the nature. And I feel like in most cases, honestly, it just ends up hurting. Stuff like that hurts the wrong people, i.e. the people that don't know better.
Right.
Because certain gossipers will get a reputation one way or another, either by other gossipers, and they're like, okay, I'm going to talk to so-and-so because she knows the scoop, or B, the other side of the people that really want nothing to do with it, and they're like, well, you can't really believe anything that comes out of her mouth. But then those people in the middle, like if they happen to come in on Friday or Saturday where there's a lot of women flying around that have never been to the club, they might hear something, and all of a sudden now, like, they have a skewed opinion of somebody or judgment off of incorrect information, which kind of leads me into our next group of people, which is the women that like to stake claim to guys.
Oh, the ones that pitch their flags on a guy and no one else can have them? Is that what you're talking about?
In a nutshell, it comes in multiple ways. And the reason why I bring this up when I talk about the weekend is because, honestly, at least for me, I've noticed a lot of it coming from first-timers that, and I think it's weird because we go back to that local celebrity thing where I feel like for some reason they feel like a male stripper is a big deal. Don't know why, but they do. And so they start saying stuff.
Hold up now, Caesar. I don't know about you, but I am a big deal. I feel like we are big deals. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I do follow you on all your social media, so like I understand. It's true. That. It's true. If you've never met Trey in real life, bring sunglasses because this dude shines so bright that the glare is just horrendous.
Ladies, don't you just love this sarcasm? Don't you just love it?
Sarcasm. I don't even know the meaning of the word. So, all right. So, you bastard.
Yeah, I got you back for last night. There you go.
That was good. Oh, that might be my best event. I might actually leave that. Hold on. Oh man, let me write that in right now. Best event. All right, awesome. All right, so what these women do, there are veterans or regulars that end up doing this, or women that have been coming to the club for a while. I'll let you touch on that for a second, Trey. But what I've seen is, and I realize this because they'll end up saying it to a regular, like for example, Caesar and I have been dating for like a couple of months now, and this and that and whatnot, and he's totally coming over to my place tonight. And they'll say this to a friend of mine that's like, knows that, like, for example, one time it happened with someone I was actually going to have breakfast with after work that night. Right. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where she just sat there like, you don't say. Like, all right. And she tried to explain this woman to me, and I've never met her before. It was just a complete stranger that just for some reason decided she wanted to stake claim to me.
Madly in love.
And so it's kind of one of those things where, like, you're doing more than you think you are.
Right.
Like, in their eyes, they're probably just telling a random stranger, like, oh, look, that hot dude is totally dating me or whatever. But, like, I mean, it just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, like, why. I don't understand why someone would do that. They do. It happens.
You know how it is. Sometimes people just want to feel like the center of attention. And it's like, oh, well, if I can have the best guy in here or the best guy to me in here, then you know what? Women who like him, they're going to be, like, jealous of me. Sometimes women feed off of jealousy. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not men that feed off of jealousy, too. But, I mean, jealousy, some people, they like that power.
Yeah.
It's a certain power feeling to them, and it's a big deal.
So, typically, for the most part, when the weekenders kind of do it, it doesn't really have too many ripple effects. But now on the other side, you have had regulars that do that. Women that are in there on a weekly or monthly basis, and they start to kind of, you know, and it's weird because then that's where it really starts to cause problems. You know, like for example, and like I said, I'm going to let you go a little more in depth in this one. But when you have a regular that has a strong opinion about X dudes. Let's say she really likes one dude and really dislikes another dude. It's one thing to have just kind of share it with your friends or whatever, but for the most part, kind of keep it to yourself. But there are women in there that they end up going to newer women that don't have an opinion of anyone yet. And they're like, hey, exactly. They're like, oh, you don't want to talk to that guy. You don't want to tip that guy because this XYZ. But this guy over here now, like, and even then, like, they might be like, okay, him and I, we're totally dating, we're a thing, but you should go tip him because he's super nice. Like, it just ends up throwing an extra variable into their own opinion, so they can't just sit there and be like, oh, I like the way that guy looks, or I like that guy's performance. Instead, they already, before even approaching any of these guys, start to get an opinion that's very biased.
Okay, so before we dip into the subject big time, both of our clubs need to have a sign heading to the female restroom that says, "Don't believe a word." Oops, sorry. Don't believe a word that is said in this bathroom, because isn't that where all the gossip just comes from? It just comes funneling out of those girls' bathrooms.
Yeah, that or the smoking patio for us.
Oh, there you go. I forgot about the smoking patio. But to me, it always seems like the gossip is always not on the floor. It's always off the floor. So it's always somewhere where, one, you can't control the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it's just if women say stuff behind a closed door, if anyone says stuff behind a closed door, man, woman, child, it's usually not true. And I just wish that people would get that through their heads. And like you said, sometimes regulars will, I don't know how to word this properly. I'm just going to say direct new people, new customers, or new women that come in the wrong way, because they might say, like, say I have a bad experience with a regular just because me and her don't get along. Our personalities do not mesh. Well, now she's sitting next to this group of girls that are like, oh, you know, Tre Vaughn's a really good entertainer and all this. And then she turns around and fires, no, he's a and yada, yada, yada.
Language,
I'm sorry. You forget. I apologize. Ladies, if this makes the show, I probably will get exited out of the show.
Move on.
Anyway, so, but yeah, that's just how it is. There's always kind of gossip, and there's always women that want to be the center of attention and, you know, try to lead us to our downfall sometimes. And sometimes it helps us, but sometimes it's our downfall.
Yep. The biggest thing about that I feel like pretty much can tell whether someone's being honest or not, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this point of view. But to me, if you genuinely cared about a dude, right?
Right.
Like, you would try to make him money, not hurt his money.
Right, exactly.
So if you find a woman that's like, oh, no, that's man, you don't tip him, you don't get dancing for me, this and that, like, I feel like that's a really, really clear indicator that she's delusional.
Yeah.
Because, like even more so, for example, baby mamas. You know what I mean? Like, every once in a while, a guy's baby mama will come in there and start, and I'm just like, do you realize that the money he's getting tipped
is going to you?
Going to you and your kid. Like, so, so that's the biggest thing. I feel like if someone genuinely has a relationship with one of the guys, or in any form or fashion, any level, then, like, they would help the dude, not hurt them.
I mean, and any woman that's listening to this podcast, just know when you come into the club, take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, because, and that's a quote back to Caesar, but take it with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, a lot of it is just, I mean, you know. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're killing me, dude.
I apologize.
I'm just gonna bleep them out. That's that way fine. They can see, like, the difficulty that you have with family. Clearly, you're not taking any lecture class or speech classes in college, right?
I already took mine.
That's great.
And I got an A in one.
That face, though. That's why it's a podcast via audio. All right, moving right along. Continuing the drama train. We have ladies that are seeking not only attention from other women, but from the guys as well. And this is so weird to me. I've seen it happen. And I think in general, guys are pretty good about dealing with it. Right. And by pretty good, I really think like a 98% success rate. But there's women that like to pit guys against one another. It's like a power play thing or a control thing, but they want to start drama between the guys.
It happens at every club. It's gonna happen until, I mean, it's always gonna happen in this industry. Yeah. You know, and I think the reason why is because, well, one, I don't understand why we were trying to do it. Like, I don't know about y'all, but right now at Hard Bodies, we have about 8-10 guys. So because we have so few guys, we're a very close-knit group. And we've all worked together, most of us have worked together for either 2 or plus years. Okay. So we're very close-knit, you know. If any of my friends from the club need help, I always got them, and vice versa. But I don't know why women would try to pit us together when all we do is work together. We're literally 5 days a week we're together. So, of course, we're going to talk. We know each other's personalities. We know each other's attitudes. And when a woman tries to say, like, something, like, I'm just going to use Dingo as a reference because he's my boy and I know he won't mind. But, like, if a woman says, well, Dingo said this about you. I've known Dingo for almost a decade now. I played football with him. I'm going to be like, oh, he did say that, huh? And then I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to be like, guess what this girl said that you said?
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know why they try to pit us against each other, except for the fact that, I mean, yeah, sometimes we're men, we get emotional, you know. In the club, I think we all think we're like the apex predator. We all think we're top alpha. So sometimes there is, you know, a little bit of in-squad struggling, but it should never be because of something a woman said.
I think that part that you're talking about is more about us having fun and just being competitive than it is really like genuine.
Agreed. Sometimes people get that confused that competitiveness and fighting for struggle and power are totally different things.
Yeah. But this is probably the drama that's kind of handled, it's the least visible because it pretty much just stays within the guys.
Right.
And most cases it's handled pretty easily because of that. It's such a small group. It's literally the woman, maybe her friend, and then the two guys that are quote unquote involved. And like you said, the guys are like, hey bro, like what's up? I don't know what you're talking about, or like totally misconstrued, or like she's playing games and it's over and done with. But it is there. It's something that, you know, it's part of the business. You have to deal with it. Like I said, it's once again more on the guy side than it is the female. But it is. Now, our next category, though, I feel like both sides of the house have to deal with it, which is the woe is me people. The people that always have something negative going on, some major dilemma that after a while you kind of pretty much believe that they're doing it to themselves, or that's where they like to operate in.
Or they like to choose that path, like you said, of course.
And I feel like both people end up dealing with it because immediately before they get to talk to a guy, they're going to end up sitting with their friends or whatever, and they're going to hear about it.
Right.
And it might not necessarily be drama in the manner that it kind of spreads, but it still affects your evening. And it still kind of either warrants an eye roll or warrants a like, oh man, that really sucks. Especially like the first 2 or 3 times it happens, you kind of like, well, I don't really want to have too much fun if you're having a bad day type thing.
Exactly, yeah.
But you pick up that pattern and you're like, I kind of feel like you always have something going on.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's going to be times that regular people have bad times or have like a string of bad luck, and that's always understandable. But when you have someone that you've seen from day one or like week one, and they always come in and they have something new that's just terribly wrong, like you said, sometimes you got to look at them like, what are you doing to yourself to cause these problems?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I feel like that's like just part of life though in general. I think we all know someone in life that they're always down on their luck. They're always rock bottom. They're always having bad strings of things happening to them.
Yep.
But sometimes I do feel like there's people that bring that upon themselves because they want that. Once again, that's another form of attention.
Yes.
They want that. They want that sympathy. They want that emotion. And
now, the one thing that I do find it humorous about this kind of category, though, or type of person when it comes to drama, is when they have money problems. Because, you know, whatever, let's say I had this much money stolen, or like I didn't make this much and I need this much for rent, da-da-da. Long story short, it's some kind of lack of funding. Like, I kind of have to laugh at them or even, like, cock an eyebrow because I'm like, then what are you doing at a strip club?
Right.
Like, that's the complete opposite.
Yeah, like
to like a solution for your problem. Like, wait, you're in need of money and you're coming to a strip club where you have to spend money.
Like you had to spend money to come in. You have to spend money for a drink. Spend money on your favorite guy to tip. You know, it's I agree 100%. Like if you have financial problems, then maybe coming to see us isn't the best thing. You know?
Yeah, I mean. It's just the truth of it. So it really makes you question like how serious things really are.
Yeah.
Either A, like whether you're being honest or not, or B, like are you creating this environment or this situation for yourself, this scenario? Right. Because if you're low on funds and you need funding, the last thing you're gonna do, I would think any normal logical person would do, is try to spend more money. Instead, they try to make more money. But, you know, that's me. I know I don't have the same thought process as everybody else.
I mean, yeah, and I understand sometimes, you know, you want to come in and, you know, being around your favorite people help comfort you and things of that nature. But there's always a time and a place to do it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to force it. But that was a very good subject. That was a very good topic. See?
Thanks, man. And lastly, so we also, like I said, being low on funds leads to my last category. And I'm pretty sure we could have missed something. And by all means, if there's another kind of drama generating person out there that we might have not discussed, by all means, leave it in the comments, and we might add on to another show later on in the future and stuff.
Yeah. I'll jump back on the podcast and we can go for another. I will make sure not to cuss that day, but we can definitely come back on.
It's cool. We can edit. It's not a big deal. Yeah. I'll put plenty of sound effects on over you.
Gotcha.
So our final category that I've noticed, and these people really, I feel like, creates the most awkward situation, which is the ladies that are always borrowing money from other ladies. And
oh, yes.
And it starts off pretty innocent, like, hey, I haven't gotten paid yet. Yeah. But I still want to get this from my guy. Can you spot me today? I'll pay you back next week or whatever. And sometimes it's totally cool, but other times they're not. There's people that borrow money and they don't pay back at all.
Right.
But the thing is that what makes it so bad is that, I mean, let's just be blunt, okay? Girl A borrows money from girl B, says she'll pay her back. She doesn't. But they both come back to the club at some point, and girl A, which still owes money, spends a bunch of money on a die.
And
so
then
how
girl B gets mad.
Exactly.
And then it starts a whole big drama thing on the floor.
And so it's so, and to me, this is another concept that blows my mind, because I'm the type of guy that if I owe somebody if we go out to lunch and I'm like, crap, I forgot my wallet, I'll get you back. I won't spend a dime anywhere until I get you your $5 back. Like, that's just me.
Understandable.
So, but it happens. And, people go on road trips together. Case in point, I traveled down here to San Antonio. Typically, ladies follow me to enjoy the show because they enjoy guys like you and seeing other entertainers. So every once in a while, it's the same thing. Like, hey, I'll get the hotel, you get the gas or whatever. Or like, I'll give you half after, whatever. Right. Sometimes somebody ends up not paying their portion of it. And so that creates a little bit of drama. And especially, it ends up festering because it ends up, most of the time you like to think it's between two people, but then it ends up expanding, because then let's say they're a part of a bigger group. Like if it's 5 girls together,
they start borrowing from like everyone in the group.
Yeah. Or it's like, okay, are you on girl A's side or are you on girl B's side?
Oh yeah.
And it ends up creating a lot of tension, and it's just bad. It's just bad juju.
And see, that's funny that you bring it up, because I mean like you said, it probably has happened at your club for sure. It's happened at my club for sure. We've always seen it, and it always, like you said, it's funny when it was like a big group of girls and they come in and they actually always have a good time and they always have fun, and then all of a sudden just one day you're like, oh, how's so-and-so doing? Well, she's a blah, 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 and she did this and she still owes me all this money, and I'm just, don't even worry about her. She's no good. She's not a good person. And then,
for our listeners out there, that actually was still Trey. I know it sounded like a legitimate woman, but it was still Trey.
Yeah, that was me. And ladies, that was the hardest thing to say without cussing, so I should definitely get a gold medal for that. But it's always that kind of, it sucks that way, because like you develop a bond with this group of people, and then all of a sudden they split, and then they're like, well, whose side are you on? And I'll be honest.
I just work here.
I'll be honest straight to their face. I'm saying, I don't pick sides. I'm here to have fun and help y'all release stress. I'm not here to add stress. So if I choose a side, I'm adding stress.
Yep, true story. And those are the people that, like, I mean, I think it boils down to a certain level of values when it comes to that. But once again, it's just out there. It's something to be cognizant of. To kind of put a bow on this subject, pretty much the best advice I can give anyone, it's like what you mentioned earlier. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. And 9 out of 10 times, just don't get involved. Trust your intuition. If you hear certain things, or like, for example, borrowing money, like, you could probably spend enough time with a certain amount of women that you can kind of gauge on whether they're good with money or not.
Yeah.
Same thing with the guys. Like, most of the time, guys are going to be really nice. If a guy ends up being mean to any woman, there's probably a reason for it, in all honesty. Right. Like, I'm not saying the guys are always right, but sometimes something happens that you just get triggered. I mean, Axel, one of the nicest dudes I know.
Right.
Super nice. And he went off on a girl, and I'm sure people that just saw it were like, why is Axel going off on a girl? But come to find out, the girl pulled down his underwear to the point where it pulled the broke the elastic. And fullbacks are like $30, $40. And poured a drink down his crotch. So it's like,
okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyone watching is going to be like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, why is he yelling at her? But, everyone else that knows who he is like, hold on, there's a reason for it. And sure enough, it was justified.
To co-star with that ladies, I've hung out with Axel. I've met Axel. He's just as nice of a guy as Caesar just said. So to hear this story, like as soon as he said that Axel was yelling at a woman, I automatically figured something really had to happen.
Yeah.
Because Axel is not the kind of person to get flustered like that.
So yeah, just kind of take everything at face value and don't let it ruin your night. Don't let it ruin your relationship with someone.
Just go in with an open mind. Like don't let anyone get you on a train that you don't want to get on yourself. If you feel like a guy is nice, he probably is nice. Yep. If you feel like a guy is mean, he might just be having a bad night, or maybe he is mean.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, that's happened before too.
But usually we run, like, our clubs are a very close-knit group of guys. In Dallas, they have a very close-knit group as well. So if there's, like, negative people in that locker room, they usually will wean themselves out because it's not an industry for people that are really mean. And
don't hesitate to call people out on it. If you identify someone as being someone that causes drama for no reason, like, call them out on it. I'm not saying they're going to stop, but sometimes it's enough to make them self-aware, and they'll catch themselves.
Of course.
But, yeah, so that is pretty much a rough run-through of drama generators in the club. There's different stereotypes and categories to them. It happens. Like I said, once again, hopefully we're not talking about you. If we are, then fix it. Because no one likes a gossiper. Yeah, so moving on. Trey, worst event and best event.
Okay.
So my worst event, two quick ones, actually. Last night, I get off stage, right? And I go to side stage because it was a good crowd and stuff. This nice girl walks up to me with a great smile on her face. She's like, "Hi." I'm like, "Hey." And literally, the next thing out of her mouth was like, "My friends and I want to have a foursome with you." And I was just like, "Good to meet you. How's your night going?"
Yeah.
So I took it as a compliment. I was like, "Okay." But I'm not going to lie, the stripper side of me was like, "You've literally given me $5. Like, I feel like you haven't tipped me enough to even suggest that right now. But, so, I mean, I guess it wasn't that bad. Like I said, once again, I took it as a compliment. But I'll tell you what, do you think I went home with those ladies or not? Leave a comment on whatever social media platform you are using to listen to this, or comment on the post, whatnot, and we will see what the consensus is, and I will let you know next episode possibly. The other thing is just a stereotypical one for me. I caught a lady recording, and so I stopped dancing, looked at her, was like, "Please don't record," and she just started giggling at me. So she put the phone down. I was like, okay. The giggling kind of bugged me, but whatever.
Right.
And so I went off to stage 2. And then she started to record the guy behind me, and I could see it like clear as day.
Right.
So I went down to her. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, you can't record."
Right.
And she just looked at me. She's like, "Oh, I didn't know." And I'm like, "How did you not know? I just told you not to on main stage." And then she like looked at me and realized who I was. I was like, "Oh, sorry." I'm like, "Please do not record us.
Right.
Like, it's a show. Some guys don't like themselves being thrown out in the universe like that.
Right.
Like, please don't." And so it kind of bugged me. A little bit that she had disregard, for, and plus, like, I will take it a step further. I'm pretty sure she was there with her girlfriend.
Right.
So then, like, what, like, okay, so if you're not getting, like, that enjoyment out of the show, like, what's your purpose for recording? Except maybe to show off to, like, your other, like, girls, like, "Hey, look, I went to a guy club." Like,
yeah, I mean, let's be real, our clubs are rarity.
I guess so. But it just kind of bugged me, her disregard for it. Like, I understand if some people, we're living in the age where everyone Snapchats and
everyone
Facebook Live and all that stuff. I caught that too. I caught somebody Facebook Living. I'm like, come on now. Like,
see, I think it's so funny because this is the difference between our two clubs. Like, at y'all's club, it's prohibited to record. You don't want recordings there. And then at our club, they actually want people to record. They just make them, buy a $5 band so they can record. So, I mean, I can see your frustration because we've been at Hard Bodies, we've been trying to push for no recordings. But management just says, no, there's no way we can stop it.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that, but clearly y'all have the right formula.
Well, I mean, it's still something we have to correct. But yeah, our show takes time. It takes effort. And why should, if people can see it on the internet, then they're not going to come in and see us. And then means we make zero money.
Thank you.
And our hard work goes out the window.
Hey,
and let me just be honest about it. Like, you've seen it enough times. The majority, I want to say at least 70% of the people that sit there and record stuff don't really tip people.
Right.
So it's like a double whammy.
I mean, there's always that different category, and there's always like our true fan base and women who truly care for us. They will record it and still tip. Mm-hmm. But you're right. There's some that will every Saturday I have it happen to me. I see all these cameras recording the act, and then as soon as I get to the edge of the stage, half of the ones that were recording sitting down. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yep.
And it's one thing for, like you said, if someone that's a fan of yours records it and they want to keep it for their own enjoyment, that's totally cool. Like, I'm pretty okay with that. You've paid your dues, so to speak, quote unquote. Like, cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's the people that record and then put it on Facebook or social media and something like that. Like, there's a reason why every other show and strip club doesn't allow any kind of photography or anything.
Right.
So...
it's like growing up, like, if you could get a movie for bootleg for $5, why would you want to go spend $20 to go see it at the movie theater?
Yep. But I digress. Okay, so you have a worst event this week, which involves rehearsing. What's that entail?
Okay, so, ladies, in case you didn't know, we had a strip-off last night at Hard Bodies.
We just talked about it, bro.
I know.
What'd they do? Just skip the first 10 minutes of the podcast?
Caesar, you never know. You never know.
All right, continue. Go ahead.
But no, we had a strip off last night. Well, majority of our acts were done before Friday, but we still had to put little touches on it, do the dress rehearsals, do all this. So when we got done with work on Friday, we got started at about 2:30, 2:45ish. We started rehearsing, finishing touches on all our acts. We did not leave the club till almost 9 a.m. in the morning. Like, I opened the door and got hit with sunlight, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was so tired. I think all of us from the club were tired. It was just a bad day. But, I mean, we do that because we really do care about our acts, and we really do want to put on a good show for y'all. So it was a worse event, but at the same time, it made for a better event in a way.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've definitely burned the midnight oil my fair share of times as well. So
of course, you're Caesar the crowd pleaser.
Oh, you're so kind.
I try.
I know. That's why we get along so well. So my best event, I guess this is a twofer as well, both really short. So once again, if you ladies didn't know, we had a strip off last night. Since yeah,
I feel like that was a little smart alecky, but go ahead.
What? No. So Martine ended up taking it down. He's a good friend of mine. I think he's a good friend of everybody. He's a great entertainer. I absolutely love watching him perform, like many of the guys from Hard Bodies. And this time he ended up doing a ninja act, and it was awesome and warmed my heart in multiple ways, because actually for my samurai birthday, I think 3 years ago now, I actually did a very similar act, a routine. And so it was really awesome to see, and he had not seen it. He knew nothing about it. So it was a real sense of like cool, like pride that like a guy I look up to as an entertainer went down the same creative path that I did. He chose different music, but he got the inspiration from the same video I did.
Right.
And it was super neat. And I believe he did it better than I did. The costuming was good, really good. I enjoyed it. But like the way he did the act in general was a little less more intricate choreography and more like for the women.
Right.
So I think it was a better act. And he ended up winning the strip off with it, which was awesome.
Yes.
So that really was cool to me. Like, I was super excited. He felt a little weird when I first told him, like, dude, I have an act just like it. He's like, man, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no. You don't understand. It doesn't bother me at all. I know you didn't know it. And even if you did, whatever, we're in different clubs. But it was cool.
Right.
Like I said, we both took the same, or ended up at the same solution through different trains of thought. So I thought that was awesome. The other thing was actually involving you. I tend to do this from time to time at our club because why not? So I was walking by side stage. Tre Vaughn happened to be on side stage, and a lovely woman wanted to go up there and tip him. And I do this from time to time. I really don't think about it. I just do it. And he, so as the woman was trying to talk to him, I was behind her so he could see me acting a fool, like doing all kinds of awkward dance moves and things like that. Horrible faces, nothing sexy about it whatsoever. And Trey, just being Trey, could not look away. So he was trying to focus on her the best he could, but kept looking at me, being a goofball. And man, I got handed to him. Like, he played it off. The woman had no idea. I've gotten to the point where other times where women get pissed off, I go, "Why do you keep laughing at? Am I funny to you?" And the guy's like, "No, not at all." I had to stop short though. I only milked it for about 15 seconds because there's a mirror right behind Trey, and I was worried about the woman seeing me. So I had to move on, but that really excited me because I could tell you were struggling. Like, I could tell you were like, don't break.
I'll be real. I wanted to. When I saw you upstairs, I wanted to cuss you out because I was about to fall off that stage laughing. I really was. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I knew the lady personally, so I knew that if I smiled a certain way, she would just think I was just smiling at her. But I was about to die laughing. I was like. Because here's the thing, a lot of people don't know this, but Caesar's actually really goofy. He just is he looks very serious and, very proper and upright, but he's goofy as get out. And when he
Good
did
job.
that,
I know you wanted to cuss.
Good job. I did. But he was goofy as all get out, and he did that, and I just didn't think, I never pictured him doing it on a strip-off night. And then when he did it, I was almost there. I almost died. But it was very good. It was very funny.
Yeah, one of my favorite times I did that was to Jax on side stage.
I know Jax can't hold his water.
Oh yeah, it was bad. It was at our club. I was like jumping off of a table and like humping a chair in midair. Oh, I went all out. The girl had no idea. Actually, it was funny because I had like the rest of the club. It was a Sunday night, so it was only like 10 women in the club. I had the other 8 women laughing so hard. It was literally only that one lady and the guy I think on stage that didn't know what I was doing. It was pretty funny.
Oh, good.
But that was definitely by far my best event of the night. Both those events things really made my week. So how about you, man? What was your best event of the week?
My best event was last night, the strip off.
What? Last night?
Yeah.
So it was a strip off.
It was because here's
night.
Here's the reason why. Yes, last night.
Not tonight, but last night.
Last night.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, but but there's a show in Houston next week, so that's
yes. Good point. All right, we'll talk real quick. The Game of Thrones strip off at La Bear, Houston.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
It's
next
also
Sunday.
going to be 4Play's retirement party. If anyone would like to get him, something nice for a retirement party. I'm totally joking. That was a bad joke. I shouldn't have made that joke.
All right, so strip off next Sunday. Both Tre Vaughn and myself will be there, so check it out if you're in town. Moving right along, your best event, strip off last night, please.
Well, my new best event is you annoyed right now, but last night it was the strip off. I keep saying it, I don't know why. But
it's the morning after. We are not drinking, I promise. I really promise.
We're just exhausted, ladies. But it's just a simple fact. I took that 3-month hiatus. Didn't really get to see any of the people that I really had been hanging out with for the last 2 years. And then, so I get to hang out with all y'all last night. I get to see y'all bring some really creative, different things. I got to hang out with you. I got to hang out with Lorenzo, 4Play, Danger, all my dudes from Hard Bodies. And also, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I just really enjoy strip-offs. Like, I get nervous before them, but during the night, I just really enjoy them. Like, I had 2 little cameo roles in acts last night. And I love those. I love both the cameo roles.
Yeah, you stole the show.
Suave's act, if y'all ladies are in San Antonio, come watch Suave's show. Tell him you want him to do his Kelly skit. And that's all he needs to hear. And Christian had a very funny little schoolboy routine. Y'all got to come out and see it. But enough with that. But yeah, my biggest great thing of it the week was getting to hang out with all of my guys from Hard Bodies and all of the out-of-town entertainers and just getting to kick it and actually have a night where I got to have fun. So that was definitely it.
Nice. All right, cool, man. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. One last things I want to talk about. Gonna finish up recording a short film with Jax. He's doing a fight scene type short film. We've recorded 3/4 of it.
Oh, nice.
Tomorrow we're going to go ahead and finish recording when I get back into town, and so hopefully look out for that. Okay. I have the trailer for it on my social media, which I'll talk about in a second. So check it out if you haven't.
Send me the link.
I got you.
Definitely.
And then, of course, we have the final episode of the reality show. We have 2 guys left, which you'll find out who got voted off the show soon. Like I said, there was a slight delay just because we had multiple events and strip ops going off. I didn't want guys rushing and breaking things apart. So we have the last 2 guys. They're doing their shows now. We're going to record them. I'm going to post them on social media for everyone to vote on. And once the voting is done, then I'll finish recording the whole episode. That way, the final episode also shows a winner instead of having an additional episode just for, to declare a winner.
We should, what? Just a thought. Maybe you should do a show about all the losers. How our lives are so miserable because we got voted off of a show.
That is absolutely amazing. I will totally do that. Crowd pleaser contest reality show. Where are they now? All right, let's move it. Stop. Gosh, I'm gonna have to edit so much laughing out of this. This is horrendous. All right, cool. Trey, social media, man. How can they find you?
You can find me at Tre Vaughn at Facebook.com. Or you can find me on Instagram, Tre, all lowercase Tre, space Ice VK at Instagram.
Okay.
And those are my only social medias at the moment.
Cool.
So.
Hey, man, that's short and sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Caesar the Crowd Pleaser. You can find this podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud and YouTube. SoundCloud and iTunes is Caesar the Crowd Pleaser. My Facebook is Caesar Collazo, Collazo. And YouTube is Caesar LeBear, where you can find the reality show we just spoke about, as well as some traveling montage blogs that I do when on my travels, and other great videos. If you're a part of the Patreon, I have the rehearsals and the creation process for my acts on there as well. Instagram and Twitter are Caesar LeBear7. And that's where you can pretty much stay up to date on everything I got going on, where I'm going, who I'm seeing, and any projects I'm in the works. Also, don't forget, a quick thing for you since you came down for the last one, we're going to try to go to Fan Expo Dallas again in April, I believe. Okay. A lot of people want me to go because Jason Momoa is going to be there, so I'm probably going to do my Drogo.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, have you watched his show on Netflix?
Frontier? Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah. Let's move on. We're digressing again.
I'm sorry.
So if you can make it out there, and then if we have any cosplayers or comic book fans out there, we're probably going to be out there in force again this year. So definitely swing by, say hello.
Are you doing the whole weekend again?
I may or may not. I don't know. We'll see.
Just let me know. Yeah.
You can crash at my place.
I'll be down there.
Yeah. Cool. So with that, it was a great show, Trey. Absolute blast having you on the show, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to do it.
Anytime. Hopefully I get to be invited back. I don't know. This was a very iffy podcast.
People like you. It's fine. I go off of the people's vote, and you're adorable. They cherish you, much like I do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, once again, thank you all for listening. Stay tuned for further episodes. Definitely my Patreon's on there. Throw your ideas for future show topics and stuff like that on the news feed. I pay attention to it and appreciate your feedback.
Plug your birthday. Do it. Plug your birthday. To it.
February 18th and 19th and 17th. It's my birthday. Fire and Ice theme. So dress in red, dress in blue.
Ladies, I will definitely be there for at least one of the nights. But if y'all want me there for more nights, just let Caesar know. I'll come for the whole week. I really don't care.
Straight professional. God, I like you. Yes. All right, there you go. See? Show him some love. He'll be there longer. And I know there are ladies out there that like you. I know it. They get super excited every time you see you.
They lie to you. They just somewhat like me. They tolerate me.
A moderate, got you. It makes sense. All right, well, with that, thank you all, and keep bringing the rain.
I'm the captain now. I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Who's and I scream as loud as you go. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.